Weird shit that only happens at private school, part 1. Now, some people with public school kids complain that, evolution's being taught, too advanced sex ed, but hey, at least nobody's second grade teacher is reading them a book called Mommy, Why Don't We Celebrate Halloween? In junior high PE, the coach was praying during a class, and when everybody got distracted by a swarm of bees, she said that swarm of bees was the devil trying to lead us away from God. In private school, sex ed is basically non-existent. The only sex ed I remember is one time in 5th grade, the boys and the girls just separated and had to talk about puberty. And then a few years later, we just got this hour-long seminar about STDs and why we should wait till marriage to have sex. Weird shit that only happens at private school, part 2. When I was in junior high or high school, my class was not saying the Pledge of Allegiance enthusiastically enough for our teacher, and then she yelled at us saying that she wished that she could send us all to a communist country. This same teacher threw my sister's project across the room when it was either late or not up to her standards, and when somebody asked her about it, she denied that it happened. In Bible class, we were reading the story of Lot and the angels, and when he offered his virgin daughters to the townsmen, my teacher yelled, "What a great dad!" He was kidding, and I liked that teacher, and I like this teacher too. But in high school, my friend and I, we were big anime nerds, and whenever we wore anime merch, she said, "Is that from one of your Oriental shows?" Weird shit that only happens at private school, part 3. So I went to private school from kindergarten to senior year of college. And in my New Testament class in college, whenever we discussed the covenant of circumcision, my professor would be like, "Ain't no party like a circumcision party." In 3rd grade, my rabbit got pregnant, and every day during prayer time, I prayed for successful bunny labor. Freshman year of college, my writing and research professor told us that she was writing a book about sex and how the Bible is actually not against premarital sex, but ironically, she thinks that homosexuals are deceived. That bitch was at least 10 minutes late to class every single day and got mad at the athletes who had to leave 5 minutes early. Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 4. During a field trip, my class and I, we went to the US Midway, and then we went to Seaport Village for lunch. When my group and I went to a fudge shop, my friend in the group entered it like this: "It smells like Jesus in here." One time when we were reading verses in Bible class, this happened. It was the 8th day of his life, and it was time to circumcise him. Woohoo! Now, this one is just a story that I heard from another student, but I completely believe it. She said that one time her friend was sleeping in class, and then when she woke up, she just said "Amen," and then didn't get in trouble. Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 5. In PE class, this happened quite often. Run for Jesus! So in 5th grade, the boys got into one room and the girls got into another room, and each of us received the talk about our gender's puberty. And this was a talk about like how you start to get into the opposite sex and stuff. And then one of the teachers started lecturing us about how we dress, because this was the time where girls were like tying their polos back with hair ties. This teacher, she then did the same with her own shirt and said, "You're starting to see what my body looks like." One time we had to memorize a Bible verse for the test, and we sang the Bible verse to the theme of the Oscar Mayer Wiener song. Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 6. During study hall, one student was telling us about how she was in a frozen yogurt place, and the cashier was hitting on her and paid for her yogurt, and she let him buy the yogurt. The art teacher in the study hall compared that to prostitution. One time I was talking to one of my school's preschool teachers, and she said that enjoying works of fiction that have witchcraft, wizardry, or spells, or anything like that was playing in Satan's sandbox. The only sex ed I got at school was this hour-long assembly on abstinence, and well, this happened during the assembly. That song, Call Me Maybe, it has another part to it. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. You gave me Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 7. My school had a very strict dress code. We could only wear navy blue, maroon, and white socks, and one girl came with green socks, and these socks had pictures of Jesus on them. My English teacher was conflicted over whether or not she should report her. She did not report her. Good on you, English teacher. One of my professors in college said that he learned what masturbation was in the Bible because the Old Testament said spill it on the ground. He told us this in theater class. For my school's homecoming dance, they took the word sexy out of Gangnam Style.